Evening, guys, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast with me, your host, Owen. Just me tonight, guys. Unfortunately, sorry about that. Sorry if that turned you off the pod. But my co-host, Victoria, is currently unwell. We were meant to be doing our NASA podcast today. Our NASA, obviously, those you don't know, NASA, North American Rangers Supporters Association. But unfortunately, Victoria is unwell, suffering with a throat, cough, really just genuinely not feeling very well at all, as we're struggling to speak. So obviously when you struggle to speak, you're going to struggle to do a podcast. So therefore we've postponed it, and we've decided to put it out to a later date when Victoria is back, healthy and good to go. But restless to say, no, that's not the word I was looking for. Needless to say, even Victoria and I are planning lots of pods for next week. We are planning a big build-up, obviously, to the big, huge game next weekend against that lot from across the city, guys. So obviously, that is going to be the big build-up. We have got a guest from Heart and Hand next week coming on, which will be from across the city, guys. From Heart and Hand, which will be good to have on board from the massive, obviously, Rangers podcast, Heart and Hand. And obviously, as well, we're going to have some other guests as we build up towards the Rangers-Celtic game and build up towards that. But obviously, thoughts now turn to this weekend. Proper football is back, guys. Isn't it fantastic to have proper football actually back? You know, no disrespect to international football. Well, actually, I don't really care. I just genuinely don't care about international football. Not an England fan, not a Scotland fan, not a Wales fan, not an Northern Ireland fan, not a Republic of Ireland fan. Generally don't care. Generally could not give a monkeys about any international football. Unless it's a Rangers game, unless it's wearing light blue or orange or white and red, then really couldn't give a monkeys about the game at all. So yeah, just spotting my new Rangers third top that I got this week. I hope you like it, guys. Nice look. Although my daughter did say I look like a traffic cone earlier. How rude was that? Yes, apparently I look like a traffic cone. We're going to talk about a few things, obviously, as we build up towards tomorrow's game, guys. It's been a long day. 10 hours at work. Was up at 3:20 a.m. this morning. Been a long day, guys. So we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about Nicola Raskin. We're going to talk about Thompson Shaka. For those of you who don't know who Thompson Shaka is, you will find out if you carry on watching the pod. We're also going to talk about what Michael Beal said at his news conference today. We're going to talk a little bit about Alan McGregor. And we're also then going to talk about, obviously, previewing the team selection for the game against Dundee United tomorrow. Guys, if you are watching, there is some people I can see watching already. Get your comments, thoughts, questions in the live chat. What makes live podcast worth doing is when you get comments in the live chat, when you get questions in the live chat, and when you get, your involvement. That's why we do these live podcasts. You know, it's all about getting you guys involved. And after all, this is a fan-driven channel. Victoria is a fan, has been since the 1990s. Obviously, she's a lot younger than me. I've been a fan since 1987. For those of you that haven't heard my story, I was actually started supporting Rangers in 1987 when Graham Souness was the manager. 87-88 was a big season. Obviously, loved Danny McCoy, Ian Durrant. Loved the English connection, obviously. Terry McButcher, Chris McWoods, Trevor McStephen, and Gary McStevens, and players of that ilk. Huge, obviously, fans of Brian Laudrup, Gaza from later decades. Just so through and through Rangers. Grew up, even though I am English, I grew up being a Rangers fan ever since I was 9 years old. I'm now 45 years old. So you can do the math there and work out how long I have been supporting the best club in the world, Glasgow Rangers. Well, guys, let's start off by talking a little bit about Nicola Raskin. Obviously, Nicola Raskin is someone who he missed the Motherwell game before the international break with that thigh issue. Now, as I reported earlier, Nicola Raskin is out now for the Dundee United game on Saturday. He is still suffering with that thigh issue. Michael Beal, talking today at his press conference, stated that they've still, obviously, Raskin hasn't trained, but will start training again on Monday. So obviously is definitely out this weekend. Obviously that opens an opportunity for the likes of John Lundstrom, Glenn Kamara to come into the team. Quite who he will choose, obviously, is open to interpretation. And I have my own take on that later on in this podcast. I'm going to talk a little bit about who I think that he should pick to play alongside Ryan Jack and Todd Cantwell, in my opinion. You know, the fact is we're only playing Dundee United, who are bottom of the league, who are absolute trash this season. You know, as you heard Kashmir Lewis say yesterday, at the end of the end of the that podcast yesterday, he talked about Dundee United not being very good at all. So, that's something obviously we are going to have to, take into account. I think if we take that into account, we're more than capable of putting a few goals past them tomorrow. Well, obviously Raskin is out now. I suppose, as Beal said, though, the fact that he's back on Monday, that's when he should be back from this injury, back and training with Glasgow Rangers, is good news. I suppose what it means is that it'll be fresh, it'll be good to go, ready for the Celtic game on Saturday. And there was certain talk on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on other areas where Rangers fans were very much talking about the fact that they were hoping that Raskin would actually miss this game against Dundee United, and the fact that he would be ready for the game against Celtic, and they wouldn't risk him in that game. So at the end of the day, I think it's probably the right move, getting him ready for the Celtic game. The only sort of downside would be the fact that he could be a bit rusty, couldn't he? He could not have, he's obviously missed a few games, getting those match minutes back into his legs. I've heard several professional footballers talk about the fact that you can be trained, you can be fit, you can be physically fit, you can go through training, you can take part in training fully, you can get, your minutes into your legs on the training field. But having match minutes is something very different indeed. Match fitness is a whole different level, to actual, sheer fitness, the speed that it goes with. And it can take anything from 3 to 5 games to get your match fitness back. That's what I've heard professional footballers say. So certainly for me, that could be the only downside, obviously, of Raskin missing the Motherwell game, the 2 Belgian and the 21 games, and obviously the Dundee United game on Saturday. Well, let's move it along now. We're going to talk about this next topic, which is I'm going to talk about this young man here, a guy called Thompson Shaka. Yes, those of you might not know who Thompson Shaka is. Thompson Shaka is a young Nigerian footballer. Unlikely to play first-team football yet, but he is someone who is in high demand across Europe. Now, apparently PSV Eindhoven, Manchester City and Chelsea were all interested in signing this young 18-year-old Nigerian lad. He's been with the Rangers youth teams, Rangers B teams this year, and has really impressed. Thompson can play left wing, he can play centre forward, he can play, along that front line, and is absolutely blisteringly fast. I mean, that is one of his key qualities. Also, good finishing skills, and he is a quality player. He has been tied down now to Rangers for the next 2 years. He signed a new contract today at 18, and he is with Rangers until 2025, which is great news for Rangers indeed. It's great when we can attract these young players, and we can bring these young players on. I think that's definitely something that we need to look at, and I really do think that having Thompson Shaka on board is really good news for Rangers. He's a very promising player, and he now will join up with the B team apparently, and will seek obviously to improve and impress in that B team. You never know, guys. Hopefully in a year or so's time, or in 6 months' time, we could be seeing him pushing for a place in the first team, and that investment that we put into Thompson really coming along. But it's great when you beat the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea, who are world renowned for obviously bringing a lot of young players into their system. Chelsea especially, have very big youth system. And at the end of the day, it's great news to get Thompson. I think that's fantastic news. A couple of comments in the live chat finally. I know that Club at 22 are on at the same time as us, so it's obviously a bit of a competition going on. So Ibrox Noise said, would you sell Lundstrom and Kamara? I mean, it presumably means Kamara, not Kamala Harris, obviously the Democrat vice president of America. Wouldn't sell her. I don't think you can sell her anyway. There's a few Republicans might like to sell her. Would I sell him? A good question. I'll come back to that in a minute. Ibrox Noise. Nicholas Moore. Good evening, everyone from the South Wales Loyal. Another very loyal one of my mods as well. Nicholas Moore. Yeah, guys, obviously not the pod we were planning on doing tonight. Obviously, we were planning on doing the NASA pod with my good buddy, my good friend, the absolutely amazingly wonderful, beautiful, fantastic Victoria Searle. There she is. Just want to say, that's there you go. At least Victoria's now kind of here now, isn't she? She's there in image alone. But there we go. So, would I sell Lundstrom and Kamara? I think the situation is this. The situation is definitely this. I think that you could probably get some money for. You could definitely get some money for Lundstram. I think at the end of the day, he's kind of reached his end of his useful purpose for me. He hasn't really done anything for the last 12 months. He hasn't looked great. He looks like he's towing a caravan, doesn't he, at the moment? I mean, that's one of the downsides of Lundstram at this moment in time. He doesn't look fit. He was slightly better, obviously, in the Motherwell game. He did okay in that Motherwell game. But overall, at the end of the day, I would sell him on. You look at his time at Sheffield United. He had a very good and successful first 12 months with Sheffield United, and then it kind of all went to pieces for him there. Is a similar thing happening at Glasgow Rangers? That's what you could argue, couldn't you? That there's a very similar thing going on with John Lundstram in Glasgow. So is it time to move on from Lundstram? That could be, and also the fact that we are going obviously into a summer where there is going to be a big revamp, a big rehash of the squad going on. And, Michael Beale's already talked about bringing in 5 new faces. He's talked about the fact there's no limit on the number of new faces that he could bring in. He's also talked about the fact that it's not just the out of contract players that he's talked to. He's talked to the some in contract, as he termed it, players as well. And the more money you can raise, obviously, then the more money you can reinvest into the club. So that's obviously, a positive. Going on to Glenn Kamara. Nicholas Moore says in the live chat, I wouldn't sell Lundstram, but I would sell Kamara. I do think Lundstram's form will pick up. I suppose it's a good test, isn't it, of John Lundstram, Nicholas, over the next few games, if his form does pick up, isn't it? I think we may well see him tomorrow against Dundee United with Raskin being out. It gives him an opportunity to impress, an opportunity to really, develop and to push on again. And I think, if he can get back to the form that he was showing, especially in that Europa League run, then Lundstram is someone we definitely could well do with keeping. There is always a need to keep depth and experience, depth behind those players that you bring in, and Lundstram could be that man. And you never know, we could hear the John Lundstram is the best on earth chant echoing Ryan Ibrox again soon. But in terms of Glenn Kamara, I think Glenn Kamara played very well again in the Europa League run. I think he did exceptionally well in that run. But I think that the issue we've got with Kamara is he's kind of lacking confidence. I think he's kind of in his own head. He's kind of moved on already. Plus, you look at Glenn Kamara, and Kamara is somebody you can get money for. Glenn Kamara is somebody I think you could turn a tidy profit on. The guy, I can't remember, it's about 60 grand he cost us at the end of the day. You could turn a massive profit on this guy. I think, there could well be teams interested in him, English teams in particular. And you always know, when English teams are interested, you can get an inflated premium for your players at the end of the day. So Glenn Kamara, Ibrox noise, yes, I would sell Glenn Kamara. I think he sort of kind of reached the end of his time. He looks like he's reached the end of his time with Glasgow Rangers. So definitely, it's time for Kamara to go. I think that is. I think that it is time. I think for the two parties to part ways and him to have a fresh start and Rangers to move on, sign some new players. I definitely think that is the case. Definitely agree with that. Okay, guys, so let's talk about what Michael Beal said in his news conference today. Rich Durant in the live chat says 100% agree Kamara should sell. So he agrees, obviously, there. Nicholas Moore, the comment there. Kamara was a great player for us, but last few seasons his heart has not been in it. Agree. I think, Nicholas, you look at him this season, he really hasn't performed, has he, at all well? So, I think it is time for Kamara to go and to move on. Now, let's talk about what Michael Beal had to say in his news conference. Michael Beal obviously had, obviously spoke to the media today. And obviously one of the first topics he talked about was, of course, the whole incident, the whole Raskin thing, and Leon King is also out, but apparently both of them will be back for the season, back for the Celtic game next week and available for selection. Jordan Wotherspoon. Jordan, hey, how are you doing, buddy? Good to have you on board. Jordan is a guy who is a moderator on a lot of Facebook groups. Glasgow Rangers news and other ones like that, and his girlfriend Cody is a big Rangers fan and is an admin on a lot of those groups. Jordan and Cody, if you're watching as well, good to have you on board. Good to have you on board, Jordan. How you doing, buddy? What's your take on Raskin been out and Jordan, would you sell Glenn Kamara and John Lundstrom, or would you only sell one of them? What is your take on that? If Cody's there, let's get Cody's take as well on that. Let's talk about what Michael Beal had to say today in his news conference. So Michael Beal talked about the fact that, that he wanted to see stronger performances from the boys. That's what he wants to see. I think, when he talks about those stronger performances, I think he's basically referring to the fact that, number one, he wants to see faster starts from Rangers. You look at the last few games, it's taken us going 1-0 down, to actually go for us to actually start playing. Definitely, that is it's true. It's true. He's only gone 1-0 down. He's gone 1-0 down in recent times. But it does seem to need to take that for us to kick on. But I think Michael Beal wants to get away from that. He wants to get back to the fact that he wants us to keep on pushing, keep on going for it. And, he does want us to, I think, start quick and put together a 90-minute performance, not just a 60-minute performance or a 45-minute performance. He wants us to put on that full 90-minute performance. And the second thing I think he's referring to with that stronger performances is the fact that he wants us to score a number of goals, more goals. You look back at that Motherwell game. We were 4-2. Obviously, we're 4-2 winners, but it could have been 6-7, 8-2. It really could have been, any number above 4. But that I agree with what Michael Beal has to say there. There is a need for those stronger performances. He talked about the fact that in the last 6 games, they'd scored 19 goals, averaging just over 3 goals a game. But, that average could have been so much higher, couldn't it? The amount of chances we haven't taken in that last few games. So at the end of the day, you've got to look at it in terms of, we've got to score more goals. We've got to smash that goal difference up. Looking forward, looking ahead, the rest of this season, obviously, I think the league has gone. But, if you're going to think about next season and you're going to think about, keeping the pressure on Celtic, goal difference is going to be a big one, I think, given the fact that the Scottish Premier League is so weak at the moment. And I really can't see it improving to any extent, any massive extent. I think that at the end of the day, you're going to need a situation where you are going to have to win your old firm games. And if any of those end as a draw, you're going to have to sit a situation where, or we lose one to Celtic maybe here and there, your goal difference is going to be absolutely vital. So it's about putting those chances away, taking those chances, and obviously, scoring those goals. So, yeah, definitely for me, it is a situation where we do need to, I think, score more goals. So I think Michael Beal is right with that. The other thing he spoke about today was the fact that he says he wants us to... He wants us to put in stronger performances at Ibrox. He's talked about the fact that there's my niece in the background. Niece, say, Mia, we're now live on YouTube with people watching. Say hello to everybody. So, yeah, at the end of the day, obviously, he wants to see better performances at Ibrox. I mean, it's tough, isn't it? Teams come to Ibrox, and the situation is that they will put the low block on. They'll drop defence in. They'll make it hard for us to break them down. They'll make it a really tough game, and it is always going to be tougher. You've only got a situation where I think Celtic will come and have a go at you at Ibrox. It's not a situation where any other team particularly will. They'll come and want to hold on for a point. And I think tomorrow against Dundee United, it's another situation where we are going to see a team where you have a team sitting back, a team holding on, trying to just get away with a point. So at the end of the day, that is the thing, isn't it? That is the thing. So yeah, he wants to see those stronger performances at Ibrox. He says he's felt the stronger performances have come away from home, and I think that's correct. You look at the result at Tynecastle, the result at Easter Road, the results we've had at Fir Park. I think that's definitely the case. So we do want to make sure that we strengthen those performances and start to put teams away the same way we have done away from home. And I think, going on those stronger performances that he talked about, the other thing I think that you can pick out of that is the fact that the defence needs to be better. We've conceded some awful goals this season. The one against Motherwell, for example, the one against Hibs, where the guy just was not tracked. There's been some awful goals conceded, and the defence needs to stop that and cut that out. You cannot defend like that against that lot from across the city. So definitely. Nicholas Moore says teams come to Ibrox to play negative football and stop us from playing. 100% agree with you, Nicholas. It is the low block, isn't it? Jordan, obviously, Jordan said, do you want me to join? Not today, John, but I will have would love to have you on a upcoming podcast. So I'm not going on for too much longer. I'm making it a nice short pod tonight because I've got a few other things to take care of with my family tonight. But yeah, definitely. If you drop me a DM, let me know dates, times when you are free. If Cody wants to come on as well, drop me dates, times. I would love to have you on a podcast. Next week will be a great time, obviously, as we build up towards the Celtic game. Obviously, it's going to be a big week for Glasgow Rangers Nation next week. So, Jordan, drop me a DM with your dates and times you're free next week. If you want, and Cody as well, if Cody wants to come on, we'd love to have you both on to talk about what you do on Facebook and talk about your love of Glasgow Rangers. That'd be fantastic, definitely. So, I think this is a situation where, he was. Obviously, again, he was asked about player contracts. He was asked about Ryan Jack. He was asked about Ryan Jack. He was asked about Ryan Kent. He was asked about Alfie Morales. And again, he said, I'll tell you the same thing that I've told you, and you're quite entitled to ask me, is that we've been talking, and that's it. He says, when we have something to announce, we will announce it. So I think that's quite apt. The fact that there is obviously a situation where there is nothing much going on at this moment in time as regards contracts with Jack, Morales, and Kent. But obviously there is negotiations ongoing. There is, I think, interest from both parties in turning those contracts around. But I think the other thing you've got to consider is that, Alfie Morales has been linked with moves away. And, looking at the papers today and looking at some of the news sites, from around the internet, Rangers star Alfie Morales has been linked with Sevilla and Aston Villa, two of the teams that he has been highly linked with recently. So, again, that could be a situation we are looking at, so maybe, he could be headed south of the border or off to La Liga. Okay, let's move it along, guys. Last couple of topics I want to talk about tonight. Like I said, I've got a few family issues to take care of tonight. So let's talk about this man here, Alan McGregor. Alan McGregor will make his 500th appearance for the club. He will make his 500th appearance for the club tomorrow against Dundee United. Obviously, McGregor has been a fantastic part of Rangers for so long. Tongues started wagging, didn't they, in midweek when people talk when Michael Beal was overheard talking about the whole situation with McGregor and kind of talking like he was going to be offered a new deal. I don't think that was the case. He was right. McGregor would play more than 500 games. I think he's going to play the rest of this season. Hopefully, he's got 2 more in the Scottish Cup. The semi-final and a final. Hopefully, so at the end of the day, I think that is definitely the case that he will do that. So we just take a quick drink there. But yeah, so definitely a case of McGregor playing more than 500. But he's been a fantastic servant for this club. So many amazing saves. That one against Slavia Prague, the one against Werder Bremen, the one obviously. Some of the other saves that he's pulled up, but the Samaras penalty save in the derby when we won 2-1. I think there's been so many great moments from Alan McGregor, and McGregor will go down in history as one of the greatest Rangers goalkeepers of all time. Some people think he's the greatest, some people think he's up there with the greatest. But Rangers, like I've said in a number of videos, have been extremely fortunate to have such outstanding goalkeepers, haven't they? You think about it, they've had Andy Gorham, they've had Stefan Klos, Chris Woods, Alan McGregor, absolutely superb. Nicholas Moore says, I love McGregor, great servant to the club, but he should have retired after the 55 season. I know a lot of people have said that, Nicholas, that they felt he should have gone. The other one, obviously, I think that's come out is a lot of people have said that he should have gone after last season, after the Scottish Cup victory and obviously the Europa League final. That would have been a great place for him to finish his career. So yeah, I mean, obviously I think for me though, he started to look his 41 years, hasn't he? He really has. He hasn't come for crosses as much. He's letting goals that he maybe shouldn't have let in. The Motherwell goal, I know he wasn't, I know Tav made mistakes on that. Cholak made mistakes on the Motherwell second goal. But, I think they thought he would come out and just plunge on the ball. He didn't. He stayed at put. I think he is starting to show his years, isn't he? He's starting to show his age at this point. So I do think it is time for McGregor to hang up the gloves, hang up the boots, enjoy a well-earned retirement for Glasgow Rangers, and obviously go down in history as being one of the greatest Rangers keepers of all time. Rangers Union with an interesting question in the live chat says, which GK would you like Rangers to sign? Right, let's think about it. So obviously there's been an awful lot of talk, hasn't there, about the fact that they've been allegedly interested in Angus Gunn, who was number one goalkeeper for Scotland during the week. I think the only downside with Gunn is that he plays in England. He's a starter for Norwich, or a Premier League chasing team. He's going to cost money. He's going to cost a lot of money. And I don't think he's going to be worth what Norwich want us to pay for him. His distribution isn't great. He's let some dodgy goals in this season for Norwich. So overall, I would say not Angus Gunn. Angus Gunn is not someone I'd want to see Rangers sign. The two keepers I'm really interested in for Rangers are Freddie Woodman and Jack Butland. Freddie Woodman is the Preston North End goalkeeper, very fine keeper, ex Newcastle United. Probably can't hold that against him. Also played in Scotland with Aberdeen, to name but one team off the top of my head that I can remember. He's a good shot stopper. He's good at his box. He's still young. He's got a lot of years ahead of him and potential to really become Rangers number one for the long-term future. The other one, obviously, is Jack Butland, who's 29 years old, currently on loan with Manchester United, ex-England international, ex-Stoke. He was very good for Stoke in the Premiership, has got extensive Premiership experience. The one attractive thing, obviously, with Butland is the fact that he is out of contract in the summer, so would be 100% free. That could be something that attracts Rangers. Obviously, his wages may be on the high side, given the fact that obviously he's coming out of England and out of the Premier League in England. And we all know that, Premier League wages and Premier League players do command inflated wages and inflated fees due to the fact that they play in England. For some reason, that's just the way it goes down. So at the end of the day, they're the two I'd like to see, Woodman or Butland, Rangers Union. Katie Davis in the live chat says, hello, and hello, Katie. How are you? Are you good tonight? Good to have you on board. Okay, let's talk about the game tomorrow. Let's talk about the fact that, it's a game that it's a must-win game, isn't it? I mean, all games are between now and the end of the season. And this is a massive month of April for Glasgow Rangers, isn't it? 5 games, 4 league games, 1 cup game, play that Mankey mob from across the city twice, once in the league at Parkhead next week, and then obviously in the semi-final against them at the end of the month, which is, for me, is a must-win game. And that semi-final is the must-win one at the end of the day. Aldo is back in the live chat. Aldo, good to have you on board. Says Butland for me, Owen. Yeah, as I was just saying. Although I think Butland is definitely a candidate for me as well. I think Woodman is the other one that Rangers should be taking an interest in. But obviously, like I was saying, 5 games to go this month. Massive month for Rangers. 5 games. And, for me, it's got to be 12 points and it's got to be a semi-final victory. It's got to be 5 wins from 5. It's got to be a victory at Parkhead to shut them up, to give them the bloody nose, to lay down the marker, to tell them exactly we are going nowhere. We are coming back at you, and we're going to be even stronger next season, obviously, once we have done our shopping in the summer. Yeah, that's going to be huge. And obviously, it has to start tomorrow against Dundee United. And Dundee are bottom of the league. Jim Goodwin, whatever he's called, he's going to come here. I think he'll put the low block on. I think he'll sit back. He'll try and save a point. That's the way he's going to play. That's the way most teams play when they come to Ibrox. So at the end of the day, I think that it's going to be a situation where we are facing a very intensive experience trying to get through them. And I think we need to be very attacking. I think we need to get after them. I think we need to just go at them from minute 1, 100 miles an hour, get after them, get at them, go attacking, and really put them to the sword. I think we get 1 goal. I think they collapse. They're an awful team. They're an absolutely awful team. I don't think they've won any of their last 6 games. They are a poor side. And, it's the fact that they've got 87-year-old what's he called? Stephen Fletcher playing up front, who's their top scorer. Well, one of their top scorers is 6 goals this season. They're a poor side, and we need to get after them. We need to put them to the sword straight away, and put them under. 4-5-1, 6-1. I think 6-0. A clean sheet would be even better. Really send out a signal that we are there to win. Alan, although Scumdy will park the bus, they will. Although they definitely will park the bus. So I promised again, remember, no tangerine Arab fans, just the shirts orange tonight. Hope you like the new shirt, by the way. Love this orange shirt for me. No catch-up football tomorrow, please. Let's just go for it from the kickoff. That's what I was saying, Nick. I think we just got to go for it from the kickoff. Now, going into this game tomorrow, Michael Beal has some real selection headaches. So who do you go with? So live chat questions. Question number 1. Do you play Borna or Ridvan? Who are you going to go with? Are you going with Borna or Ridvan at left back? Take your pick. Who are you going with? Okay, so live chat, let me know. Do you want Borna or do you want Ridvan as your left back tomorrow? That for me is the first selection dilemma for Rangers tomorrow. So yeah, let me know in the live chat who you'd go with. My personal pick, I would start Borna tomorrow, just because I think Borna is the one most likely to start against Celtic. I think he's wanted to go with experience. Nicholas wants Ridvan to start. I can see the point of starting Ridvan as well. You know, he is a very skilled, very talented player, and I think the more match minutes he gets under his belt, the better for him. I just think he'll start Borna because of the fact that, you know, Borna had a good game for Croatia apparently last week. He obviously is the more experienced player, and I think obviously against Celtic, he's probably going to start with Borna. That's the only reason I'm kind of saying that. Aldo says it should be Ridvan. Can't pay $5 million for a player to sit on the bench, but it will be Borna, which is what I'm saying, Aldo. You know, personally, if I was picking the team, I would play Ridvan, but I'm not picking the team. I'm just going off what I think Beal will do, and I think he'll play Borna. I think he'll play Borna because that's what he's more likely to play against Celtic. He's more likely to go in with that back four. Nicholas, we all like Borna. He's a quality player, and that left foot of his is lethal. But yeah, I think, you know, he's likely to go in with settled back four: Tav, Goldson, Davis, and Borna, because that's the back four he's going to like to start with against Celtic in a week's time. So I think he's going to stick with that. He's going to want them to gel again and be ready for that Old Firm game in a week's time. I think that is what Beal will do for me. So yeah, I think that's the situation as it is. I mean, although he has talked, hasn't he? There's been an awful lot of talk, rumour, supposition in the media and in Michael Beale's press conferences about the fact he could get a three at the back. You know, what would that look like? Would that be Sauter, Goldson and Davis, then with Tav and Ridvan as wing backs? I think Ridvan is a more natural wing back, bombs on, bombs back, a bit quicker than Borna. So is that a situation that he's looking at? Or is that more something for next season, you know, a three at the back with the three, with Sauter, Goldson and Davis, and then having Ridvan and Tav as your wing backs? I certainly think Tav would love to be a wing back. He just seems to get getting forward and scoring goals more than he does defending at times. So yeah, I think that could be the situation. That could be a situation. You know, he could experiment with that against Dundee. That could be something we try against Dundee. I certainly don't think we should do it against Celtic. You don't experiment. You don't go in with anything that you're not 100% sure on when you play that Monkey Mob from across the city. So yeah, definitely for me, I would go with the back four tomorrow, and definitely would go for a back four against Celtic as well. As at the end of the day, that is what we have played all season. That is what we are more used to. I think at this stage of the season, it's a bit too late to be messing around with that. That's certainly something you'd work on in the off season, work on in your pre-season, and have that as a weapon in your bow to go forward and be able to adapt the team. You know, good teams can play with multiple formations during games. You know, you look at teams that are successful in Europe, teams that are successful, you know, across the world, and they can adapt, they can change during a game. They can go from 4-3-2-1 to 4-3-3 to 3-5-2 to 3-4-1-2. They can change their formation throughout that game and adapt to how the game is shaping up. That is what a good team does and what a good coach does. So yeah, I definitely think that is something that for the future, for definite anyway. Okay, so next selection dilemma. Who replaces Raskin? Who replaces Raskin, guys? Do we go with, hear me out, do we play Lundstrom? That's who I think he probably will play. Kamara? Or do we go super adventurous? Do we push it? Do we go for Tillman? And Tillman and Cantwell play together? That's my next question in a minute about Tillman and Cantwell. So let's not jump the gun on that question yet. So who does he replace Raskin with tomorrow? Is it Lundstrom? Is it Kamara? Or is it Malik Tillman? Who would you go with, guys? Live chat, let me know who you would go with. Who would you play tomorrow? So Aldo says Jack, Cantwell and Lunny it will be. I think you're probably right in your opinion. Yeah, definitely Aldo. Love Rangers, hate Celtic. What a great handle for that, don't we all? Tillman, he would like to see Tillman play. I think Ryan Jack is a shoe-in. I think that Cantwell is a shoe-in. Nicholas Moore says he thinks he'll go with Lundstrom. I think he'll go with Lundstrom. I think Lundstrom is someone he likes as a player. You know, so I think that is a situation where he will play Lundstrom. But is Tillman? Could he use Tillman? It's Dundee United, for God's sake. We're not playing Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. We're not playing Barcelona at the Camp Nou. We're not playing Arsenal at the Emirates or Manchester City at the Etihad. We're not going up against one of those teams. Bayern Munich at the Allianz. It's Dundee United at home. I mean, come on. Go with one central defensive midfielder, Ryan Jack, and then bomb on, attack, go after them. Cantwell and Tillman. Guys, what do you think? Live chat, let me know what you think. Do you think that Cantwell and Tillman can play in the same team together? So can Cantwell and Tillman play in the same team together? I think they could. You look at the types of player they are. There is a similarities. There are differences. Tillman is someone who gets forward, he bombs on, he takes players on, he attacks. Cantwell, I think, for me, can adapt his play. He can change his play. He can sit back a little bit more. He can really adapt and change to suit whoever he's playing with. He's a very, very intelligent footballer. And I think, that is certainly something that is a strong possibility for me, that he could, at some point try Cantwell and Tillman. Or do we push Tillman, if we do play Tillman, is he pushed further up front to play as one of the three? And someone like, Ryan Kent misses out. If Ryan isn't here next season, that is a strong possibility, and Malik is. Or, Fashion Sakala misses out. What do we do there? But do you think that Tillman and Cantwell can play in the same team? Guys, let me know in the live chat what you think. Like I said, I think it could be possible. I think you may need to adapt your team a little bit. I think you might need to play Tillman a bit further forward. I just think tomorrow against Dundee United, it's not Real Madrid, it's not Bayern Munich, it's not AC Milan or Napoli, it's not one of those teams. So, at the end of the day, I do think you could be a little bit more adventurous. Jim Slow in the live chat. Follow, lads. Follow, 100%. Every Saturday we will follow. I'm not going to sing. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing off Four Lads Had a Dream. I'm not going to sing any of those songs, guys. Don't want to ruin your Friday nights by singing. But yeah, definitely. Although says Jim, yeah, definitely. So guys, can answer in the live chat, please. Can you play Tillman and Cantwell on the same team? That is the key question. Aldo says, get well soon, Victoria. Can we all just wish Victoria the very best? Wish her all the best. Hopefully she'll feel better soon. Everyone send their love to Victoria. We are missing her tonight. She is, you know what, guys? I actually joked. I was actually talking to Victoria during the week, and we were talking about the podcast, and we were talking about names for the podcast. The Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast is what we're going with at the moment. But I said we should call it Beauty and the Beast. What do you think? I'm the Beast. She's the Beauty. Beauty and the Beast. What do you think? I think that's quite apt, guys, really. I definitely look like the Beast, don't I? Definitely like the Beast, and she's definitely the Beauty. So yeah, Beauty and the Beast. Let me know what you think. Although, thank you very much. Yes, definitely, Owen. Nicholas says, best wishes, Victoria. Definitely, yeah, 100% best wishes to Victoria. We all love Victoria. She is absolutely not fascinating. She is an absolutely fantastic young lady. She is absolutely superb. So we do wish Victoria all the very best. I will make sure I pass on your good wishes to her. I don't know if she's watching tonight, Victoria. If you are watching at home in Canada, Ontario, Canada, then let me know in the live chat. It'd be great to hear from my co-host. I know you are unwell, and I understand, obviously, if you're not watching tonight, that is 100%. But everyone is thinking of you. Everyone hopes you can feel better soon. Your voice clears up and you can start. We can hear your beautiful voice again on Glasgow Rangers Nation very, very soon as well. Right, final selection dilemma live chat. Here we go. So you're going to make a decision here. Aldo says she should be watching. I'll let her know. I'll ring her after. I'm going to phone her after the pod anyway and talk at her because she can't talk. Guys, it's good, isn't it, when women can't talk, when they can't talk back at you? Anyway, so let's finish our final selection dilemma, guys. Do we go with Antonio Cholak up front, or do we go with Alfredo Morales up front? Who are we starting up front? Are we starting Tony Goals, or are we starting the man from Colombia, Mr. Alfredo Morales? Who are you going to play up front? Now, obviously, Alfie's been in Colombia for 2 weeks. We don't know what state Alfie's going to come back from Colombia in. But who do you start on Saturday? Do you go with Alfie or do you go with Tony Goals? Who do you start with? Definitely. Cholak for me, says Nicholas Moore. Although if Alfie isn't going to be here next season, then it should be Cholak. I can see that point of view 100%, definitely. Share the pod to all your socials, etc. Let's get the numbers. I will do. I'll do it after I've finished. Owen, I think he looks very lean in the Everton shirt. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, shall we? Let's talk about a bit about that. Right, guys, I don't know if you've seen this, but during the week, he was over in Colombia. He went home to Colombia during the international break, and he was seen wearing a Everton shirt. If you haven't seen the picture, let me see if I can quickly find it. I can't pull up on an overlay because I haven't prepped one, but I'll show you as best as I can on my phone. There he is. There's Alfie in a Everton shirt. What do you make of that, guys? What's your thoughts, opinions, comments on Alfie wearing an Everton shirt? I think it's disgraceful. I think it's disgusting. I think it's wrong. I genuinely don't think, as a player who plays for Glasgow Rangers, you should be doing that. I've heard explanations that he might have been doing it because Yerry Mina, who is his Colombia teammate, is an Everton player. He might have been coming out in support with him. But it's not a great look, is it? It's not a great look at all. Nicholas says he's done with Alfie. I'll be honest, don't see the issue with it. If it was a Scottish team, maybe, says Aldo. Why you got to ask yourself? Yeah, it's pretty awful. I wouldn't bother wearing one. But this is the issue with Alfie, isn't it? Alfie's always going to cause controversy. Alfie's always going to cause trouble wherever he goes. And I think that may be a reason that finally is the final nail in the coffin for Alfie at Glasgow Rangers. It's time thing. Aldo says, at least it was blue. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if he'd wore a Sporting Lisbon shirt, for example, which is green and white hoops? Could you imagine the problems that could have caused for us? But yeah, so a lot of the live chat obviously says Cholak. I think that that Michael Beal will go with Tony Goals. I think that's probably going to be a situation tomorrow that he will go with Antonio Cholak, despite obviously the fact that I think against Motherwell, Cholak didn't have the best of games, and when Alfie came on, Rangers looked a little bit better, didn't they, when Alfie came on? So I think we will see Alfie at some point. I think he will play a part in the game tomorrow afternoon. Sorry. So yeah. Now, what would we go with? How would we start the game? What's your team? Jim says, Aldo and Nicholas, how come you two always get the spanner when all I want is a hammer? Oh, Jorg Albert's the hammer. I'd love to have him back, guys, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you love to have someone like Jorg Albert's playing for Rangers again? Yeah, Jim, it's just that they offered to be mods on the channel. There's them two, and there's Gregor Leishman who offered to be mods. And, there is obviously the danger you get some Celtic fans and you get some other fans that come on and make some dodgy comments. And last night there was a few horrible comments made about Victoria and things they'd like to do to Victoria, and I just think that's out of order. And that's what the mods are there for, to control that awful behaviour. I'll make one thing clear: I will never ever allow any disrespect, any rude remarks towards Victoria. That is not acceptable here on Glasgow Rangers Nation. And anyone who makes a rude remark or a disrespectful remark towards Victoria will be banned. That is just out. It's not out. It's not permissible. It's not allowed. Victoria is a fantastic young lady. Please do not insult her in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so obviously tomorrow's game. It's a game obviously we've got to win. We've talked about selection dilemmas. Dundee United are rubbish. I want us to put them to the sword. I'm going to go 4-1. It's 4-1 Rangers tomorrow. Goals from. I'm going to go for absolutely, and one of our own. That's Aldo. Well, Owen, she's a lovely lassie, and well said, Owen. Thank you very much, Nicholas. You can be rude to me. I can take it. Anyway, so tomorrow I would start obviously with Alan McGregor in goal, back four, Tav, Goldson, Davis and Barisic. I would then play Lundstrom and Jack as your two holders. I'd then have Kent, Cantwell and Fashion, and obviously with Cholak up front, Alfie to come off the bench and Tillman to come off the bench as well and impact the game later. Destiny, I watched it, mate. Was that the podcast last night, Jim, you're talking about with Dundee United when there were some rude remarks made towards my good friend Victoria? Okay, guys, I'm going to call that a show tonight. Thank you so much for joining me in the live chat. Thank you to everyone. Thanks to Jim, to Nicholas, to Aldo, Nicholas and Aldo, my fantastic mods. Thank you to Katie, to Ibrox Noise, to Love Rangers, Hate Celtic, to Rangers Union, to everyone who has joined in the live chat tonight. Thank you so much for all your support. It's been fantastic. Nicholas says 3-0, Cantwell first goal tomorrow. Yes, he is referring to the Dundee United podcast. Aldo says 3-1, slow start, Cantwell with the first, then an Alfie brace, Shaka, Tav, Goldson, Davis, Barisic, Lunny, Tillman, Cantwell, Alfie, Sakala, and Kent, my first ever. So you're going without Jack and playing Tillman and Cantwell. That's a good attacking team. Nicholas says, great show, my friend. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Guys, please continue to come back to Glasgow Rangers Nation. Guys, we're sitting on 496 subs. We are just 4 off our first milestone of 500. We then kick on from 500 to 1K, obviously. So 4 more subs to get to 500. So if you haven't yet subbed and you're just picking this up another time, hit the sub, ring the notification. You get daily Rangers news, daily Rangers content, daily Rangers updates, all from this channel, guys. We're quite unique on YouTube in that aspect. You don't just get me, this tired old fake, this English face. You also obviously get where are we going? Here we go. Let's find her. You also get Victoria Searle as well, Rangers fan extraordinaire. So definitely please hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and give this video a like. Aldo, cheers, Owen. Chat, always my pleasure. Guys, it's been a pleasure speaking to you here on Glasgow Rangers Nation. I will be back to speak to you very, very soon. Remember the live stream tomorrow of the game, bringing it to you live. I can't show the actual game because I'd get deleted off YouTube. I will be talking about the game, commenting on the game, commentating on the game, talking about the match. So please come back and check that out tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Remember to hit the sub, ring the notification, and please give this video a like. It does help. And get well soon, Victoria.